relate to that. Are the people really receptive to the good news?
Absolutely, yep. You go to the door, and they're super, super shy culture, so they might just stand there and be smiling, looking down, looking up, waiting for you to offer them a study. And when you do, they will say yes. Like they are, some of them say, I studied before, I'd like to start up again, but most of them will wait for you to offer the study, and then they'll accept it. But that's also what makes it hard, because it is such an accepting culture, and they want to be respectful, and they want to listen to the foreigners, that you have a hard time finding out, what's really going to be productive, And so that's one of the changes I'm definitely going to make when I go back, is I'm only going to be studying with people that are showing that they really want to make progress, and prepping for their studies, and attending meetings, and, I'm not just going to study with everyone like I did before, because you can end up running yourself ragged in hot sun, and you're not making the kind of progress that you want to,
All right, Courtney, I'm going to ask you another question. I want Robert now to remember what we talked about the other day. But how many Bible studies do you have, Courtney?
I had 24 for a couple months. I was trying to put in special pioneer hours, because when I got here, I wanted to work full-time. So I was accepting a lot of studies and trying to just handle as much as I could at that time. So I was had 24 studies, but if you counted out how many people that was about 48 people, because some of them were group studies. I had one family with there was 8 daughters in the family, so I think there were like 5 of them were the actual girls from the mom, and then like some of them were from schools roundabout, and they come to Lethem because there's not schools outside of Lethem, unlike a lot of those villages, so they come in, and that's a good opportunity for us to teach them while they're there before they go out again. But that some of them, like at one school, it was a group, it could be anywhere from like 5 to 10, and that was just counted, of course, as one study.
So you had 24. Do you, if you could have taken on more, could you have gotten more?
Yes, you can. If you could take on 100 studies, you would get them. You just, like I said, I was so excited because I got there, and my first door out in service, I got a study, right? And I go to the elder. He was born and raised in Guyana, and I go, Gene, I got a study, and he just looks at me, he's like, yeah. Like, what's the news? Because everyone accepts studies. There's nothing there. And it's funny how, our perception is so much different, because we're just, like, thrilled about it, and he's just like, oh, this is how it is.
Well, that, sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? Yeah. Well, it does sound like, really, if you want to serve with the need is greater, that's the place to go. There's got to be some challenges here. Now, what are some of the challenges?
Well, like I said, the biggest one is heat. Being away from my family wasn't as hard, because I talked to a girl that need graded before, and I asked her what her advice was, and she says, make sure you have a way to Skype your family, video chat with them. Makes a huge difference. So I could go to an internet cafe and Skype my family, see them. I could email them whenever. And email is so cheap. You could get internet on your phone for $37 for 3 months. So I was able to contact my family whenever. So it wasn't that part wasn't hard at all. So like bugs you might be afraid of, they didn't really scare me unless they're crawling on you. They're not really a problem. We saw a couple scorpions, a couple of massive centipedes, a massive spider like this big. His abdomen was like that big in my bathroom. When the water rises, they come out, so they're like all in our bathroom when that happens. And there's some poisonous snakes to be aware of, and you just take your precautions. There's alligators and stuff in the streams sometimes, depending on the water level. So when it floods, you have to be careful of that.
What about the people themselves? Is there any challenges with some of the people to make progress in the truth?
Yes. So the culture is really laid back. So because they're so accepting, they'll just, oh, sure, whatever, yeah, come spend an hour a week with me. But they're not really committed to doing anything with that information. Even after you've, showed them over and over that, the church they're going to is teaching false doctrines, they'll, oh, I went to church this Sunday. Oh, I didn't see you there. You did? That's wonderful. Yeah, the Baptist church right here. It's like, come on, So, yeah, the culture
it's kind of like up here, though. You get people like that.
Yeah. So one thing I'm going to do differently is, like I said, I'm going to make sure they're making more progress. What I found out right before I went, when I was running my self-rated, one thing I tried was that, hey, if I had 5 more studies to do that afternoon and I didn't have enough time, if I went to the study and they weren't prepared, I'll say, okay, well, go ahead and take this time to prepare, and then next week when I come, you'll be prepared. It'll be great. And then when I did that and I come next week, wow, a world of difference. They would be, interested in what they were learning. They would understand it. They would remember it. It was so much better. So I'm really going to try hard next time too.
So you got to
really
develop
focus on that.
your teaching skills.
Yes, encourage the preparation. That's huge.